Last week, the streets of Leeds were unfortunately met with a riot after a state intervention from social services took one family's children into care. Anger quickly erupted, leading to smashed police cars and a burnt-out bus. Something no one wants to see, and it's certainly not a situation for the permanent gonorrhoea of British politics to wade in on. We don't want to talk about him. We were trying not to mention him by name, but he has been recently elected to Parliament as the leader of a far-right party. And he had an opinion on this, which may not surprise you.
I think we need to discuss a new name for him.
Yeah.
I know we didn't want to talk about him and we don't want to mention his name, but he is going to continue to do these things that deserve calling out. Yeah. So what are we going to go for? What are we going to call him? Our producer James has given a suggestion, nasty effer.
Yeah.
Although I keep misreading it and thinking he's saying the heifer.
Like he's a cow. Let's not besmirch cows.
No, cows are great. And then I went on to Google to look up names that we could possibly give him. Yeah. And I came across a now defunct Facebook page called Ed Miliband's. And it's from 2015. It was a different time, okay? It was a different time. Facebook, Ed Miliband's. And there was one post that just said, I think we should all start calling Nigel Farage Nigel because he's a boring cunt that puts you to sleep.
Why is she allowed to say cunt?
I'm quoting. That's not my phrase. I mean, it's weird when you even see that because on a serious point, obviously that was 2015. So the idea you would just describe me as like a boring, monotonous person who puts you to sleep is so like generous to him because he's actually much more mendacious, isn't he?
Yeah.
But Nigel's not a bad start. So in lieu of that, let's talk about Nigel, the member for Clacton.
Well, the member for Clacton decided to tweet about the riots in Leeds, whilst obviously doing important work for the local community he now represents by going to America to attend the Republican National Convention. He tweeted, "The politics of the subcontinent are currently playing out on the streets of Leeds. Don't say I didn't warn you." Alex Sobel, who's the Labour MP for Leeds, replied, "This is a situation you know nothing about and no one has briefed you on. You are inflaming a situation with misinformation. Politicians have a responsibility to not exacerbate situations, particularly with no knowledge of them. I expect you to issue an apology." To which the fuckwit replied, "When will you and the Labour Party apologise for irresponsible mass migration?" Now, look, this is an evolving situation in Leeds, which needs to be discussed, but it needs to be discussed when there's more information that's available. What we definitely know is that this issue has absolutely nothing to do with the South Asian communities in this country. And so the phrase which absolutely drips with colonial contempt, the phrase, the politics of the subcontinent, which could not be more redolent of imperial nostalgia of a kind that is the only thing capable of raising an erection from that particular gentleman. It is unbelievable that he's been allowed to use this. And I know that, and I understand that his whole career is essentially based on making people like me angry. But owning the libs, or whatever you want to call it, is one thing when your job is essentially to do that for a conservative news broadcasting organisation. He's a member of Parliament. He should now be held to the standard of a person who holds public office. It is an absolute disgrace that he posted this. It is an absolute disgrace. And it is quite astonishing, this idea that he's able to spread misinformation and we seem to have no recourse to do anything about it, given that he's a member of Parliament. The invocation of the politics of the subcontinent is, to my mind, a piece of uncomplicated racism. I mean, I have the same thoughts, and I keep wondering: is he less accountable now that he's an MP? Do you know what I mean? Like, where do we go for it? When he was spouting his crap on GB News, at least you could write to Ofcom. I mean, not that anything would come of it, but you kind of knew where you were meant to go to challenge these things and hope for some kind of consequence. Not that they ever really came, or certainly not enough to stop him spreading these kind of vicious lies. The unrest was triggered after children from a Roma family were taken into care, and there are obviously very serious questions that need to be asked about the way that authorities handle that community. There are serious questions to be asked about the background to all of this, but that needs to only happen when we have more information about it. What we definitely know is this has absolutely nothing to do with the South Asian community. Back to the comments though, as I understand it, at this moment in time, as we record on the Wednesday, they're still up.
This man has shown no contrition. I mean, now that it's all been revealed that this was not actually anything to do with that community. And, you know, he doesn't show contrition. He won't regret it. He'll probably just dig deep and do more of it. So I think there is, A, it's worth us calling it out. And B, if you are also incensed about it, listeners, maybe we should tell our MPs how upset we are about it. And maybe someone should bring it up in Commons, because it is absolutely disgusting. So consider this the beginning of our first campaign against Nigel. Please write to your MP. Please write to them and say, this guy said racist things. Can it be brought up in Commons?
Absolutely,
because
100%.
I think it is worth causing a fuss about this.